We are on page 71 of Tzurba M'Rabanan, Volume 1. We are in the middle of Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Bays.
71.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Page
I'm sorry.
37.
We hadn't finished volume 1.
I'll tell you
Page
where. Yes.
37.
Yeah, 37, praising an idol worship.
37.
Yes,
That's where I was
exactly.
Sorry.
37.
Praising an idol worshiper, page 37.
Make dyslexic.
Right. So again, Tzurba M'Rabanan, Volume 1. We are in Hilchos Avodah Zarah Aleph. We will be starting Mirz Hashem tonight, Avodah Zarah Beis. This is dealing with giving praise to an idol. For example, you say Isaac Newton was a wonderful scientist. Are you allowed to say something like that? Okay, the Torah states that it was forbidden to make a covenant, a bris, with the 7 idolatrous nations that lived in Eretz Yisrael at the time the Jewish people entered from the desert. The Torah adds a prohibition of lo sachanim, from the word chen, right, which is interpreted in 3 different ways by the Gemara Masechta Avodah Zarah and extended to all people who worship idols. One of those interpretations is quoted below, that it stems from the word chen, grace, meaning one may not praise an idol, a house of idol worship, or an idol worshiper. Masechta Avodah Zarah, Daf Chav, Davar Acher, Lo Sachanim, Lo Sitein Lahem Chen. Don't give them praise. Messiah Le'Rav, Damarav, Osir La'Adam Sheyomer, Kamana Avodas Kachavim Zor. How handsome is this idol worshiper? Meisvei. Ma'aser B'Shimon Gamliel, Shahaya Gavin Maila B'Har Abayis. He was sort of on an elevation in Har Abayis. V'ra Avodas Kachavim Achas Noab Yoser. He saw a very pretty, this was a female idol worshiper. Omar, Ma'rabu Ma'asecha Hashem. Right? He said, wow, what, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are amazing creator. Afra B'Kiva, Ra Eishes Turnus Rufus. Turnus Rufus was a Roman officer, and he burnt one of the Sifrei Torah, one of the reasons why we fast on one of the fast days. And this was the wife of Turnus Rufus, Harasha. And Rak, he spit. Sochak, he laughed. Ubachad, he cried. Rak, Shaisa Ba Metipas Rucha. He showed that really human beings come from even from a drop, from a putrid drop. Sochak, he laughed. The Atida de Megaira v'Nosifla, that he saw in the future that she was going to convert to Judaism and he was going to marry her.
Rabbi Kiva was going
to marry her. Bacha, the high shufra boli afra, that such beauty is going to eventually be covered by dirt. So the Rav, now we just had a statement that you can't praise people who are Avodah Zarah. How could Rabbi Shimon Gamliel be praising them with Ma'rabu Masecha? So Rav Oidehu de Kamoide, that he was really thanking Hashem for creating beautiful people. He wasn't praising the gender, he was praising the concept of beauty, you could say. Omar Mar, Haroya Brias Toivos. You see a nice looking person, Oimer, Baruch Shekacha Bar Baloma. There's a bracha that you say. So he wasn't necessarily praising that individual person. He was praising the concept of beauty.
Tells you that you're not allowed to look. How can you pray? You're not supposed to even look. So if you look, you already saw you making a praise on it.
Well, no, it doesn't say look. He said you can't praise them.
We must have seen her.
Later on, I mean in a different sugya.
Yeah, it says
okay.
Definitely you're not supposed to.
Okay, but he happened to, the person happened to walk by right near Daladamas.
So if you see someone brilliant, like Newton.
So hang on. So the Shulchan Aruch codifies the halach in Yoredeya. Asr l'saper b'shvachon shalov dekachavim. Afilu loymar kama noah b'kachavim zeh b'tzurasa. How handsome is this person in his figure? Kavachoymesh yisaper b'shvach ma'asav. Certainly, if you praise him in what he did, or shichaviv davar midvarav, where he said something, smart. Now, if you couch the term in a way that you're praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu for creating such beauty, so you could, now, if you wanted to say that, could that also mean that, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created wisdom that he placed in Isaac Newton's mind? Now, we're going to deal with the issue. Isaac Newton was probably not an idol worshiper as defined by the Gemara. So it may not be an issue. Let's see if that's what the... Well, no one ever forces a person to praise. Like
you're going to see the king, you're going to see somebody important.
That's a different... Okay. So the Tzitz Eliezer, let's remember, Rabbi Eliezer Wallenberg just passed away a couple of years ago. He lived to about 100 years. He lived in... It was a major posting. He had a 21-volume Shilas and Shuvas. Tzitz Eliezer, he was one of the first that dealt with medical issues, like in the 50s and 60s, even before Rav Moshe, and even the Tzitz Eliezer was the repository because he worked right near Shari Tzedek. And a lot of the doctors who worked there would come and daven in the shul, and that's how he started answering shilas. So what does the Tzitz Eliezer say? Kvar hiksha lishol, ayeh yesod heter l'shavach lechachmei oivdei avodah zarah, kishmechadshim, o mamtzim eze meida. He's dealing with the question, can we praise Isaac Newton, or Max Planck, or some smart Immanuel Kant? They discover Thomas Edison, right? Be'eze chochma shehi, k'fi shematzinu LaRambam Zal, b'shvochos Aristo v'chadoma. In the Moreh Nevuchim, and in certain places, even in the Yad Chazaka, the Rambam goes at length praising Aristotle, as a major philosopher. Because os nagu kama g'dolim Yisrael, we also see other g'dolim Yisrael praising people. V'hiz bonanti, and I thought about it. V'ra'isi shebe'emes mefurish yotze came medivrei Rambam b'sefer mitzvahs losase nun. Right, one of the writings of the Rambam was the Sefer Mitzvahs, where he enumerates each one of the Targum mitzvahs. So in Losase, the number 50, Shekoisev, his hiru mechamol klal kol ovdei avodah zarah umliyafas davar mikol ma shemiyuchad lehem. You're not supposed to have mercy on idol worshippers and not to praise anything that they do. Vu amru lo sachanim, from the pasuk lo sachanim. Uva Kabbalah lo titen lahem chen. Through Kabbalah we understand, don't give them praise. Ad she'isha avodah zarah yafa Tzurba. Asur lanu lomer zeh. We can't say how handsome such a avodah zarah is. Ad kan lashono. So that's the words of the Rambam. So now the Tzitz Eliezer says, Harei lanu sha'Rambam zal bi'er bekan b'hadei kidvarena amurim sha'isur losses lehem chenu davka im anochri hu ish kazeh she'ovid avodah zarah. So he's qualifying this din. So if you know for sure that he worships idols, then you can't do it. But otherwise, there would be less of a problem. The Kach Ra'isi b'Sefer Chinuch, right? The Sefer Chinuch is also a Rishon in Mitzvah Taf Chavav Shemedake Gam Kein Lichto. Va'al Kein b'Mananu b'Machshava v'Dibur Mimtzo b'Ovdei Avelilim To'eles. So when we say you're supposed to be prevented from finding favor in anything the Goyim do, Hinenu b'Kach Milischaber imam, or madaf achar, you shouldn't be friendly with them, you shouldn't run after them to seek their love, or to learn from their bad actions. Because he mentions that the chinuch mentions that it's got to be an idol worshiper mamish.
Not just the Gentile, has to be
he has to be an idol worshiper. So therefore, it seems, unless Thomas Edison was known as an idol worshiper, or Isaac Newton. We know Isaac Newton was not. Isaac Newton...
The question is, are we qualified today? Do we, again, the same lens we had last time, are Christians considered idol worshippers? Only Catholics? Maybe.
So we saw different opinions. So the Shach...
Thomas Edison praised Jews as the smartest people. He gave big copies.
Who did?
Throughout his
lifetime. But I thought he was an anti-Semite.
Yeah, I also thought that too.
He was an anti-Semite.
He fought with the Hollywood Jew. He fought with the Hollywood Jew. And the Hollywood Jews, they made the movies. Remember, he had a patent. There was big fights.
He was a big guy of Israel, though.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, the Shach rules. Remember, the Shach, who wrote the Sifsei Coin, by the way, when I read today, the Shach was 20. The two major commentaries on Yoredeya is the Shach and Taz. Not only that, we live by every word of the Shach. That means the later poskim, whatever the Shach says in Yoredeya, that's how we poskim. He's authoritative, even more than the Taz. The Shach was 24 years old when he wrote the Shach. So the Shach ruled that any Gentile is included in the prohibition, And this appears to be the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch cited above as well. So the Chochmas Adam gives another reason. Remember that Chochmas Adam was the Chaya Adam, but his Sefer on Yoredei is called Chochmas Adam. Also, l'saper b'shvachim loimer kamano avodah zarah zu. The kavachar l'saper b'shvach masav. His good doings. L'chaviv drachos. Kol zehu b'chlal lo sechanim. Lo zetel amchein. V'akol kadesh lo yiskarvu imam v'lamdu masayim.
When did he live?
The Chayim lived in the last 200 years, 1700, time of the Gra.
Talking about Avodah Zarah, with Avodah Zarah had disappeared by then.
At least in the Western world.
Yeah, in the Western world.
No, but the Shach said that any Gentile is included in the prohibition. He did not say like the Tzitz Eliezer.
He mentions Avodah Zarah.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Which
So
is strange.
if the Jews and acquaintance of the Gentile whom he is praising, such that he may thereby benefit at some point from doing so, like financial, it is permitted based on the Tosefton of Avodah Zarah, and is ruled by the Sefer Torah Saderech by Rav Mordechai Gross. He adds that any action that is common practice in one's locale is also permitted, such as giving a tip to a Gentile waiter. So if you're going to have better business dealings with a Gentile and you praise him, that's not a problem. Okay.
Boils down to money.
Yeah. It's all about the business. All about the Benjamin.
So there is a machlokas between in the summary.
So again,
It's worth.
how does a person hold then? Now,
Okay.
which way do you go?
Let's go.
Crazy.
Let's
Go back and forth,
Let's summarize the Hilchos of Avodah Zarah. So, what is Islam? The Ran said it was Avodah Zarah. The Rambam said it's not. So, our modern day poskim, the Tzitz Eliezer, said it's prohibited to pray in a mosque or to even enter it. But the Abiyah Omer says it is not a house of idol worship and therefore is permitted to pray there. So when you say, what is the final halacha? So people who follow Ovadia Yosef have a heter to go into there. The Tzitz Eliezer held that it was not. So that's our final halacha. It's machlokas haposkim achronim. You have someone to rely on, Rav Ovadia Yosef, and the Tzitz Eliezer says it's prohibited to pray there. That's halacha. It's not that there are many things.
The Tzitz Eliezer was cholik on the Rambam?
No, Abiyah Omer. Yeah, and he was cholik on the Rambam. Yeah, because we had the Ran felt it was Avodah Zarah. Tzitz Eliezer is an Ashkenaz.
So that's what
It's
all
Ashkenaz
the
versus
Ashkenaz
Yeah.
say.
Okay.
Because it's
that
foreign to
Islam
them.
was-
Yes.
that's it.
What's the status of Christianity?
The opposite.
It's
So
opposite, yeah.
the Rambam and the Noda B'Yehuda
See?
held that it was Avodah Zarah. Tosfos and the Ramah said it is not considered Avodah Zarah. What about entering churches? So the Abiyah Omer and other poskim hold it's prohibited. The Shulchan Aruch says one who sees such a building must recite the blessing Shenatach Erech Apayim. We said that he holds back his anger. The Rambam says one may not even live in a city with a church, and Rav Soloveitchik says one may not even watch a ceremony in a church on a TV. So it's clear from the poskim we're not supposed to enter a church. We have a term of living in the city. We discussed that. Okay. What about idolatrous images? If they are made for beauty, one may use or benefit from them according to Shulchan Aruch. The Shach says it's only permitted if it wasn't used, if we know for sure it wasn't used for Avodah Zarah. And again, Rav Ovadia Yosef says one may be lenient regarding a cross if it's designed for beauty or
So
for
you
honor.
can own a Buddha, a statue of a Buddha?
If it used to decorate the home, I guess
Is it made for beauty?
If it wasn't worship, says the Shach. If you think it's a beautiful thing, okay, but if it wasn't mamish worship, it's
Even
Avodah
if it
Zarah.
wasn't created and used
Yeah,
already
it
by
wasn't
somebody
worship.
else.
If it was created for Avodah Zarah, it's mamish Avodah Zarah.
Well, we know that the jewelers are creating it just for beauty. People like the idea of
Or
having
crucifixes and things.
That-
So I went on a hike last week, and we were at the top of there's a tree over there it's called Wisdom Tree. I don't know if you've ever been up there. It's a very hard hike next to the Hollywood sign.
yeah, but I know the Runyon Canyon.
Oh, they
No,
have
it's
stones
not.
there?
This is So they got the top there.
Markulas.
They have piles of
Stones.
piles of stones. all
Markula,
over.
and we talked about
Yeah.
it.
I've never seen it.
The Markulas.
It was all over the place.
And who
Did they
puts
do it like I said, stone, and stone on top of it?
Yeah.
That's usually the primary
It wasn't
one.
stones.
No, and then they
Yeah.
throw stones at it.
Look. I've never seen that.
Taka Avodah
So
Zarah.
that's rule
Yeah.
of Avodah
You
Zarah?
can walk there.
What?
Couldn't walk there.
No, you cannot throw a stone at
He
it.
threw the stone.
Because the way it was worshipped is by throwing a stone at it. Now, Walter,
And there were other people
by any
there
avodah
for
zarah, if you do any four actions, bowing down, shechting in front of it, throwing blood at it, you're chayiv no matter what. But otherwise, you're only chayiv for the avodah zarah if you do the action. So, for example, Baal Pa'or is going to the bathroom in front of it. The miracle is you have to throw a stone. So you're chayiv not to throw a stone, but you can walk by it.
Never
all
would
over
have.
the place.
Yeah.
People make it. Actually, the thing is about it is that I think they did it on purpose because we say that when we say avodah zarah, we should destroy it. So they created an avodah zarah. The avodah zarah is the destruction of the avodah zarah. Just like Baal Pa'or.
Knock it over.
Baal Pa'or, you think of a spin of avodah zarah and make fun of
Yeah.
it, right? So they said, great, the avodah zarah will
That's
be
worshiping.
defecating. So the avodah zarah is exactly the thing that we would do to an avodah zarah.
By the way,
That's the avodah zarah.
Yeah.
If we destroy it, it's not destroyed. The non-Jew
yes,
who
yeah,
worships it
yeah.
is the one who has to be mevatel the avodah zarah.
Right.
Now we were commanded when we came into Eretz Yisrael to be mashchit, the asherot, and all that other stuff. But in order to mevatel the koch of the issue of the avodah zarah, they have to be mevatel. Otherwise, you can't have an offer.
This week's parsha.
Let's
I
continue.
took this picture, by the way.
It's
So,
actually at the end of Achrei
Idolatrous books.
That's what I thought.
You went there.
I
Like-
wanted to show it's
yes.
the
In
end
the
of
Achrei Mos, that's exactly what it says. When you come into the land, you follow in the ways of those
Yeah, right.
who were destroyed.
That's what I'm like.
And I can't remember the passage.
Yeah, we'll have it.
Kol HaTo'evot.
So the idolatrous books,
Where are
the
you
Rambam,
reading now?
I'm on page 40. The Rambam said it's prohibited to read books. We're talking about like Greek mythology. The Igros Moshe said it is permitted to read these things if you have to rule on halacha, but only by Gdolei Ador. If one needs to teach about an aspect of avodah, it must be taught in a way that it is clear that it's nonsense and foolish. According to the Shulchan Aruch, we may not derive benefit from idolatry, even if it's already been burned. One may not derive benefit from the sounds, scent, or sight. The Choch Masadim says you can't sit in the shade of avodah zarah. What about the use of tunes? So Sefer Chasidim, the Ramon Mishnah says it's forbidden as part of tefillah, but the Abiyah Omer said it's permitted. And the Igros Moshe went too far to say that even if the tune is no longer used for idolatry, you can't use it.
That's why they stopped
Okay.
that singer from singing. What's his name? The Jewish singer there.
A lot of Hasidic rabbis get their
They didn't allow him to sing in front of the crowds. Remember?
No,
They
you should
could've-
use it.
Oh, the Hasidic guy
Yeah, what's his name? With the
with
face,
the
you know.
funny glasses.
Yeah.
So the praising an idol worshiper, the Tzitz Eliezer says it only applies to an idol worshiper, and the Shach says it applies to any Gentile. So again, it's a machlokas haposkim regarding that issue. Okay, let us move on now to page 53.
It might be, if I would suggest, it might be good to eat just one paragraph on page 46. Ready? The section of your concern for causing enmity. Very interesting because it's probably the only exception of when we can enter a church.
Now we did read some of this last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago we read some of this. We read about parking in parking lot as a shortcut, and
That part, but
voting.
that's 47. I'm talking
Okay.
about just.
There are times when communal leaders are invited to important state ceremonies that take place in churches. Refusing to go could cause great resentment and enmity towards the Jewish community. Based on what we have seen above, if one holds that there is a Torah violation of receiving benefit, because there's a machlokas, these circumstances would not permit entering a church, as we are generally not lenient on a Torah application, even if Ava is concerned. However, many poskim are lenient in these scenarios based on the assumption that it's only a rabbinic prohibition. This leniency has two very important limitations. First, one needs to clarify that there is a real concern for Ava. Second, Rav Asher Weiss points out that even if a communal leader or rabbi needs to enter, he is definitely prohibited to pray or say Tehillim there, as it is forbidden to pray in a house of idolatry. Moreover, it should be noted that Rav Yosef ruled against this leniency outright, despite taking the position that the prohibition is only rabbinic in nature. So,
It's a question. You go on to Harabayis and people are not supposed to daven, but they say Tehillim to themselves. And if it's used as a worship for Islamic prayer, the Harabayis,
well,
why is that not the same
that you
kind of
couldn't
concept?
if you went into their mosque, in the building, so then you would invoke in that issue. Remember, Abiyah Yomer held you could daven in a mosque. The Rabbi Yosef said,
Right.
now you're talking about being outdoors. So just because they pray out there doesn't necessarily make, they can't make the whole outdoors a base of avodah zarah. So it must be that the people who go up there and daven, it's because they're not physically in a mosque. Now, number two, The Harabayas we hold has the Kedusha Rishoina Kitshel Shaitel Shaitel Losid Lavo. So it certainly has Kedusha for us as well. Okay. What about the use of the secular calendar? We're on page 53. Page 53. The Ramban writes that there's actually a biblical mitzvah to use the Jewish calendar. He explains how the names of the months in the Jewish calendar change from being counted numerically, the first month, second month, to receiving Babylonian names such as Nisan and Iyar. So this is the Ramban on the Parsha of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. We read it on Parsha HaChodesh. V'tam HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodoshim, she'imnu osi Yisrael Chodesh HaRishon. The point of this is that the Jewish people should label this the first month. Umimenu yimnu kol HaChadoshim. From there you count Sheni Ushlishi Atashul Mashona b'Shneim Esrei Chodesh till the end of the year, 12 months. Kedei sheyeh zeh zikaron b'nei Sagadol. Why do we do Chodesh HaRishon, Chodesh HaSheni? We constantly want to remind ourselves of the nace that occurred that we were taken out of Egypt in the first month. Ki b'chol eit sheniskar chadoshim yeh nace niskar. Whenever we mention by a numerical number the month, we will always be remembering the nace. V'alkein ein lechadoshim shem b'Torah. And that's why now we understand, because throughout the Torah it says Chodesh HaChamishi, Chodesh HaShvi. The names of the month only came when the Jews came back from Bavel and they brought the Babylonian names. The Ramban is explaining to us why the names have only been given numerical numbers. Ela yomer b'chodesh hashlishi, o kumo shetiya zchira b'yom haShabbos, b'noseinu mimenu echad b'Shabbos v'shem b'Shabbos. Just like we say today is Monday or two, but we don't say, we say today is echad b'Shabbos or sheni b'Shabbos, and it's always reminding us of Shabbos. Kasher Farish, like the Ramban is going to explain, Kach hazakira b'yitzis Mitzrayim. The fact that we remember the going out of Mitzrayim b'manotenu in our counting of a Chodesh HaRishon v'Chodesh HaSheni v'Ashlish l'gulatenu she'ein aminin hazeh l'shana sha'arei tchila shnosenu mitishrei, right? Really, the beginning of the year is Tishrei. V'zeh tam Rishon ulachem she'ein Rishon b'shana aval Rishon lachem. So basically, he's saying that even though we know that the year starts in Tishrei, we call it the Yom HaRishon because that was the month we were Nigal.
So when talking about Sefer, they're talking about Bavel.
So far.
Right.
Then we're going to talk about can we use names like September and even 2019.
But we're not allowed to use the first month or second month or third month.
No.
Right now, we're not allowed to. Even though it says in the Torah, that's why the Torah mentions it.
Right now, we're just building. Right now, we've been given the concept that the Torah never used specific names for the month. Mm-hmm. It called it the first month or the second month. And that was the preference of the Torah. It wanted us, whenever we mentioned a month, to remember, oh yeah, this is the 7th month from when we got out of Egypt. It causes us to remember the nays. So no, it's a good thing to use the months. Now, the question is, how did we ever accept a change? If the Ramban is telling us that it's a primary mitzvah of the Torah to count it this way, then how did we ever change to the way we count our months now, Nisan and Iyar? Ukvar hiskira b'seinu zeh inyan, v'anu shemos chadoshim olu imanu mibavel. So the Yerushalmi in Rosh Hashanah is where it tells us that the new names of the months were brought up by the Jews when they came from Babel. Ki mitchila lo hayu lahem shemos etzleinu. We didn't have those months, the names initially. V'asiba b'zeh, ki metchila haya minyonim zech l'yitzis Mitzrayim. The number of the months, as we said, was to remember the Yitzis Mitzrayim. Aval kasher alinu mi Bavel. But now that we came up from Bavel, we forget Yitzis Mitzrayim. Because Niskayim Hashem Kosuv, it says in Yirmiyah, Lo yomer od chai Hashem asher helos me'Yisrael me'Eretz Mitzrayim. We are no longer going to praise Hashem and say, oh, you know, this is Bnei Yisrael, this is Hashem who took us out of Mitzrayim. Ki im chai Hashem asher helev asher havi es Bnei Yisrael me'Eretz Tzafon. Bavel was to the north of Eretz Yisrael. It was called because Mitzafon and Yirmiyahu, when they prophesied about the coming Golus, they said it's going to come from the Tzafon. So Chazarnu likra chadoshim b'shem shnikram be'eretz Bavel la'askir ki sham amadnu u'misham helon Hashem yisbarach. So very interesting. So just like we call a Chodesh HaShlishi to remember Yitzis Mitzrayim, the reason why we mention the names Nisan Tishrei is to remember that Hashem took us back after 70 years and brought us back up to Eretz Yisrael. It's not something that we thought of most of the time.
Either there was a Golos mentality.
And therefore, when Bayis Shlishi is built, and we're taken out of the Golus, because we have a Navi that also says, we're going to say Asher Hela May Dalit Tfutzos Aretz. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be, we're going to forget Golus Mitzrayim, we're going to forget Golus Bavel, because we're going to have the final.
I understand that. Well, why do we use the Bavel thing? Well, aren't you changing?
Because it was a miracle that God
So we
remembered.
know the numbers.
No,
we know
God
what
remembered. But Yirmiyahu brings a pasuk in Perek Tet Zayin that says, Lo yoimar od chai Hashem asher helaz bnei Yisrael mitzrayim. We're going to come to a point because you're going to go into exile, and then later on Hashem's going to bring you back from exile to Eretz Yisrael, that you're not going to praise Hashem by saying, oh, you Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, but no, you Hashem are the one who brought us home from Eretz Tzafon, from Babylonia. So the Babylonian captivity, where we were there for 70 years, and then we were rescued from, this is now the new miracle that is being remembered when we use the months Nisan and Iyar and Tishrei. Okay. The poskim dispute whether there's a prohibition to use the secular date. April 30th, 2019. The Chassam Sofer, right, passed away 1815, 1820, was the Rosh Yeshiva in Pressburg, one of the major achronim in Central Europe, did major battle with the Haskalah. Chassam Sofer writes that it is clear from this passage in the Ramban that one who uses secular dates should be rebuked. Moreover, the Maharam Shek, who was 40, 50 years after the Chassam Sofer, student of the Chassam Sofer, writes that there's a Torah violation to use the secular date. Now, let's step by step.
Your birthday.
Step by step, let's see if this holds.
Let's your birthday, you better say your Hebrew birthday.
So the Maharam Shek, let's see the Maharam Shek. Michtavo kibalti, I received a letter. Nishalti al derech matzeva achas, person died. They put up a monument. Shehemid ish below rotzon hagaboim the Chevra Kadisha. The Gaboim the Chevra Kadisha were upset about the matzeva. Ve'amatzeva hu nichtevet beloshon akum. It's written in German or Czech or whatever language, English. V'gam parat hashanahu be'ofen kimor sha'oivdei alili moinim lahanotzri. Right, it's got the year from the Notzri, right? That's
the lunar calendar.
Right, the regular calendar.
Solar calendar.
No, the Notzri refers to Jesus.
Yeah, so it means
from 1963,
right.
because AD is Anno Domini. We say CE Common Era, but AD Anno Domini, they counted it from the year of the birth of Christ. Mm-hmm. That was used. That's what AD means. Anno Domini. Mm-hmm. V'shal maloso im rishon laniach matzeva husham. So are we allowed to leave that matzeva there? In letucho betit, or should we cover it over in clay? Beprat mashakosov boazman lanotzri. Particularly the date. What the date is what really bothered them. Osh lashlich hasam matzeva chutza. Maybe we should throw the matzeva outside of the Beis HaKvaros.
They were kanoim.
Vinay. Hang on. The Maharam Shek is a major achron that we live and breathe by. That means the Maharam Shek is not some way out achron. The main student of the Chassam Sofer was the Maharam Shek. We have a lot of psak like the Maharam Shek. So if the Maharam Shek says something, it's not. It's a major halachic posek in Central Europe at the time. That this is not. Chassidish Rebbe saying this. I just want to lay the framework. This is one of the major halachis of that generation. Now we'll see. It's not going to stand. We'll see how this develops. So he tells us that he already does not approve of the fact that you should not write a matzeva with its foreign language. Right, the solar calendar, Gam came B'Lashon Laz, Ze'avera Kfulo Mechupeles. The Mispar Chadoshim Shalahem Eina Mechuvonim LeMispar B'nei Yisrael. So first of all, their months, even when we say 4/4/30, right, their Mispar has nothing to do with our Mispar. It's not, when we say April is the fourth month, it has nothing to do with the Chodesh HaRevi, because perhaps they didn't say the date January, but maybe they put 9/7.
It's
1864.
The year is
the big issue.
No, but he mentions Mispar Chadoshim. That's what I'm saying. He also mentioned, for
Well, the
example, so
months
like
are
today,
named after
today is
gods.
4:30. We're going to get there in a minute.
Yeah.
But right now, let's
Even
say
the
the
days.
Matseva had said 4:30:19. He had a problem with it because saying 4, we're counting the 4th month according to their calendar. It's not Bnei Yisrael. Umasha simu, that which they ended, b'mispar hashanim, b'mispar nosru, ledati ze iser d'oraisa.
Wow.
Shari b'torah parshas mishpatim nemar, v'shem elokim achrim lo saskiru. Remember that pasuk. Shem elokim achrim lo saskiru. V'armu chachamim, chekasvu aposkim, de'osur lomer lechavero, hamtein li b'tzad avodah zorah ploni. Wait for me next to Notre Dame. You're not supposed to have some. You're not supposed to make a meeting place and mark a spot to meet a friend there. Umidinakat b'lashon hifil taskiru mashma shafilu ena maskir mamish gam kenu b'chlal iser v'hamona b'misporim nira lefi anilas daiti the over b'Yisrahu al v'shem elokim achem lo saskiru. You're sort of invoking God's name for them.
let me ask you
This kaskiru anu b'peh o b'chsav, because whether you say it or write it. לפי מה שכתוב במנחס חינוך מכל מקום כיוון על ידי המניין אוהל על זיכרון מחשבה נראה דאוסר דזיל בוסר טיימה כמו שכתוב בחינוך you're remembering the fact that it's counted according to the notes tree. לא ישמע פיך וגם גורם, it shouldn't even be heard from your words because somebody's going to think about it when you say it. וגם גורם אוסר שעל ידי נזכר זמן של עבודה זרה. You're going to talk about how many years עבודה זרה is ruled. ואם כן בני אדם ההולכים על הקברוס and other people are going to come to the basic forest. They're going to read the Matseva. Im kain Matseva hu goyremes lekam averos. Im kain dover shagor mavera vaday roy lahashlicha. He says you should throw the Matseva out.
Does a Matseva has kedusha?
No, but he says we're
You sign
reading
a
it.
document. You sign a document today.
We're going to come to documents right now.
But you could also,
We're done writing dates on a document. Hang on.
but you could also
The later it's just important to know. Just important to know that there is a sheet of the Maharam Shik. However, the later poskim argued with the Maharam Shik and state that according to the strict letter of the law, there is no prohibition. Nevertheless, they agree that it's proper to write the Hebrew date as well. And that's how most of the later
Most
different...
Matsevos in Israel do have just the Hebrew date, but there are plenty that have both.
So hey,
I haven't seen the Hebrew date.
so here's the Ovadia Yosef. He's our current posek who commented here. The reason why Abia Omer, if you notice, is being quoted by all, it's not just Ashkenazim, because he was an amazing malakate. If you read his chuvas, he brings everybody. So if you want to see like a review of a subject from the time of the Gemara until the present, it's Ovadia Yosef. So he commented. Not every posek comments on everything, but he really did. He's very broad, and that's why. Because you notice we bring Abia Yomer in many of the halachas. He may be the only modern day posek that commented on it. So nishalti odos akosum igoros michtov l'chavreim. Walter's case. Somebody's writing a letter to his friend. The kosum atorich lemina notzrim. And he writes the secular date. Im yeshlim chos b'yadeim. Should we prevent them from doing that? Mishum uvechukoseyam lo seilechu. O ein b'zeh iser gormim min adin. Or maybe there's no iser. She'ein lesser mishum uvechukoseyam lo seilechu. Ela be'echad mibeis chalokim. He's gonna say that there's no violation unless we do the following things, where there would be a violation. Harishon hu adover she'ein tamun nigle. So the first thing is something where it's not really clear. K'demash meloshen chok, because chok means we don't really have a reason for it. The Kamosha Perish Rashi Baramban and Perik Kedoshim. Shekevan shu osa dover mishuna she'ein botam. For example, let's say we're talking about the b'chukoseyam lo salechu. When do you violate that? If you do some kind of action, like you see a black cat, and you don't walk in front of it or something. So that's a nonsense. He's doing something mishuna she'ein botam nigla. Doesn't have some kind of reason for it. Element they shehem noagim came. It's because the non-Jews do that. As nira vaday kenimshach achreim. So then it's very clear that you're doing it because you want to follow them. Umoda lehem. Shem lo kain lama yasek edivrechem matmuim. Why are you doing such kind of weird thing?
Like
So-
not walking on their land.
like some kind of straight. So there, he would say you're not allowed to do it. What's the second way that we would be following them? Hu davar sheshayich bo pritzos. There's some kind of immorality involved. The nagaboa akum, the inkain b'ksiva satarich halo yazi. So Rav Ovadia Yosef says it. You're just writing the secular date. First of all, the ikka milsa b'taima. There is a reason why you're writing it. You want to let the person know that there's a certain date that you're writing it. Shu oisa came lerov pirsum atarich lemishu ben bris lemisheinu ben bris. He writes the date whether he's writing to a Jew or a non-Jew. V'lo shaycha time. There's no kind of taina here. The emes oisa kamasem atumim that he's following them because there's no reason for it. The vaday she'en kan iser mishum uvchos kaseyam lo solechu. He clearly paskins if you're writing the date, it's not a problem. The gam anochi aroa bekama ma'isa bezdin shebachul shekois v'natarich halo yazi amatim liyom v'chodesh u'shnat atarich ha'ivri. So he notes that there are Beis Dinim outside of Eretz Yisrael where they will write the secular date as well as the Hebrew date.
In Israel, they don't.
No.
Israel,
We'll see in a minute what they do in Israel. But he noticed that in Chutz La'aretz, that many Beis Dins, they don't just write the Hebrew date. Because, for example,
They're
let's say
dealing with that, yeah.
Beis Din in America writes something that, for example, a woman could collect against her husband who doesn't want to give her a get. She may have to go to secular court to collect with that. So there's a practical reason why you want to put a secular date. That's what he's commenting on, that he's seen that it's done. He has no problem with that. לכן העיקר לדין שאין בזה שום איסור מן הדין. והמקילים בזה יש להם על מי שיסמכו. אולם יוס טוב על תקרי רע. וכל שאין צורך גדול. But if there's no real need, יש לכתוב החדושים והשונים למספר בני ישראל. ובפרט פה בארצנו, he says in Eretz Yisrael, כשיש צורך בדבר טוב לכתוב מלבד למספרם גם לבריאס אוילם, ואני רציתי כתבתי. So he says, in Eretz Yisrael, if you can get away without it, it's also better.
Well, in Israel, what do they do now? They don't use do they use English dates? Well, what do they do?
English? Yeah.
They write checks with Hebrew dates on there.
Hang on about checks. But he's
In
talking about
business,
not
they
saying.
use English dates.
What about a mantle on a Sefer Torah? You see sometimes on a mantle on the Sefer.
There would be no real good reason to do that.
No, you see sometimes.
Yeah, but why?
You see on a cornerstone of a shul. See on the corner or stone of a shul.
Years.
You see the years. It's always got a Hebrew date also.
There might be a toelet because people need to know when it was built or something like that.
Not everybody
But
understands Hebrew.
yeah, you see that he doesn't have a problem with writing the Hebrew. A mantle on a Sefer Torah is a different story because what's the purpose for that?
Some people.
He says Tzorech Dover. He said
I've seen it on a mantle. They put the
Tzorech Gadol.
mantle, and I've seen a mantle sometimes with a Hebrew date and an English.
You understand? Tzorech Gadol means a great need. So if there's a great need for it, you can do it. Now, the Tzitz Eliezer tries to soften the Maram Shik. He wants to say that in some ways the Maram Shik would also agree. אבל לאחר העיון נראה יש לומר עד כאן לא יאסר בזה המרם שיק, משום לא תזכירו, כי מהיכן שמזכיר במפורש שזהו למספר הנוצרי. So he wanted to say that the Maram Shik only, if you were really referring to the Anno Domini, you know what I'm saying? This is 1868, 1868 years, the year of our Lord.
Like a
Exactly.
or something like that.
Kigon shim siyum ktivas hatarich mesayim beloshen, for their number. Aval im lo mesayim bekazos, kim kosev b'stam hatarich, shemoni ma'an ein b'chol kai gav mishum lasaskiru. So the Tzitz says if you just write, January 4th, 1982, it's not a problem. Kai gav the yeshno b'dover rak mishum gnai, she'ozu hatarich ivri, u'boch hatarich hagoy. It's not shame that you're not writing. It's like you're leaving the Jewish date and writing the Goyish date. It's not the nicest thing to do, but it's not an Isser, is what he wants
If you
to
would
say.
have write 1-1, like 1-1-19, in other words, like you would think it's like a Chodesh Harishon.
So, but it's their Chodesh, but it's January.
Yeah, no, but
So
I'm
it's not.
just
It's
saying,
not.
but
That doesn't help us, like the Ramban said, because to write 4 or the Marim Shek, if you write 4 today is 4/30/2019. It's 4 not to our months. It's still counting to their months.
But you can also argue that whether it's their months, we can also argue that we're counting the number of years of our galus. And approximately, you can say the number of years that we're in galus.
Yeah, but it's not because it's 70 CE. Okay. Let's see further in the Tzitz Eliezer. Yesh lahader lahanik lichtov lefi atarcha ivri, da'anu lebrias oilam.
Aleph, Tavshin, whatever.
Yeah, we have to write.
Have you ever seen that written anywhere?
What do you mean Aleph Aleph?
The first day of Nisan.
Yeah,
Aleph, Tavshin.
the Gedolim write that way. They'll write a letter, Hey Cheshvan Tavshin Chav
But
Zayin.
they won't say.
they
They won't say first month.
American, no.
Cheshvan, second month.
No, he said we already said. Once we
Chodesh
once
Harishon.
we
in
went to
Bavel, I
Bavel,
understand.
we left that.
Yes.
We left that once they came from Bavel.
Understand.
Okay.
These are
Aval
Greek
Kishiyet, look,
names.
here's the Tzitz Eliezer giving some very nice, giving us very nice Gedorim.
Greek,
Aval Kishiyesh Hechrech Mischari. So here it is. If you have a business need, or misradi, or official, bureaucratic, Medine Lichtov Leminyono, when you can certainly write the date of the year. Al Kagon Dolo Oimrim Toikev Tevet. You don't have to follow the Chasam Sofer regarding that. Doesn't apply. And that's why we find the Kama Gedolim Gdolei Aposkim B'Sifrim Shekosov B'Divrei Tuvasem Atarach Ezrachim. We find many of the Gedolim write even the regular dates. Uvesochem Kama Chasam Sofer B'Atzmo. Kemuva B'Sifrei Yabi Omer. The Yabi Omer quotes where the Chasam Sofer also wrote about a regular secular date, where there's a bureaucratic need for it. Rav Asher Weiss finds another reason to be Melamed Schus of using the secular calendar. He distinguishes between secular matters, where there is no significance as to which calendar system is used, and important matters in a person's life, death, a wedding,
Your marriage certificate.
where it is appropriate to use the Jewish calendar. Let's see the Rav Asher. So he wants to say, listen, the Minhag Olam is to write the secular date. So he says that's not a problem. Here od lo nitztavinu b'Torah limnos es Nisan. So first of all, he says the Torah itself didn't tell us to write Nisan. Ela rosh l'chadoshim. V'nin echodesh echod l'rishon yesh b'zeh bittul rotzon haTorah. So if you didn't write chodesh rishon l'chora, you're sort of being mevatel what the Torah says. Ach ein gerer chodesh b'Torah ela b'chodshei haLevana. But that's because we do a lunar calendar. Aval chodshei anochrim she'enim chodshei levana einem b'chlal chodesh klal ve'im Yisrael limnos kan. Remember, the Gregorian calendar is 29 days, 30 days, 31 days, 30 and 31, and then 28. It was established, has nothing to do with astronomical, meaning Islam has a lunar calendar. They just don't have a leap month. They have 29 and 30 days, 29.4. It's almost up there. The Babylonians had a leap month in a different way than we do it. They had 19-year cycle, because in 19 years you have 235 months, so it can be divided equally to 365. So they did it 12. They did like this. They did 12 years with 12 months, and then they did 7 years with 13 months. The Babylonians. Now the Jews, we took the same concept, except we have 7 leap months throughout 19 years. They did it 12 and 7, the Babylonians. We changed, we scattered them, but it's also the same principle. If 7 of the months are 13, 7 of the years are 13-month years, and then 12, and it adds up to 19, you get back to the same date. That's why when Mappa says...
Our cycle is actually much more than 19. It's, I think, 22 times 19. I don't know, 13 times 19, it's like a 200-some year cycle. For what? Our calendar. What?
No, we have the same thing. It's not. It's based on this Babylonian thing.
It's 19, but
and 7 out of 19.
It can be different 19. They're not
Oh, it's different. I'm saying the 7 within the 19 is not always the same.
Even the 19, you can have, some months you can have like Cheshvan, Kislev, and Tevet, an extra day, or Hanukkah, for example. Sometimes you can have 2 days. Sometimes you have 2 days. Sometimes you have 1 day. You can have years that are Uberet Chaser, with an extra 3 days. So you can have some years that are 354 days, 355 days, 356 days, or with an extra month. You can also have...
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is the following. These were based on a real astronomical concept. It was a lunar thing, but it had to be reconciled with the 365-day solar. Otherwise, you wouldn't know the season. Like in the Islamic... When we say Tishrei, we always know it's in the fall. When we say Nisan, it's always in the spring. With the Islam, they'll say 1,000 years ago, a certain Islamic month, you have no idea when it was in the year. We don't have that problem. However, the Goyish calendar was not based on any real astronomical thing. It was done for different reasons, and they add. By the way, every 100 years, there's no leap year, but then except for 1600 and 2000, because there's 11 minutes. There's 11 minutes that you lose every year, so they make it up every 100 years. We don't add a leap. Every 4 years you add a leap. You add a leap day to the February 29th. Except on 1700, 1800, 1900 you didn't, but on 2000 you do, because there's still. By the way, it wouldn't be a problem until the year 4000. Then they might have to add like a leap hour or a leap day or something like that. But with this group in 1580, by the way, in 1582, they one day in Europe it was October 5th. And they woke up and it was October 15th. When they changed the Gregorian calendar, they had to make up 11 days, which had been lost 11 minutes since the Julian calendar that was established from the year 300, that to make up 11 days. Then going forward, the way they modified the Gregorian calendar was the way we just said leap month, and then the Gregorian had to add, so there was no leap day in every 400 years. So 1600, 2000, and 2000, we did have a leap 29 days, even though it was 100 years. The point of Rav Asher is the Gregorian months have nothing to do with an astronomical concept. So so for example, time is arbitrary. We decide, for example, a day, a minute. We have decided based on clocks. So the first clock was anything that happens with certain.
But that was based on the sun's
with certain
position
periodicity.
The clock.
So the Earth rotated every 24 hours. Right. It was 24 hours. The moon cycled every 29 days. It was 29 and a half. It was pretty pure. They used that as a clock. The fact that the Earth came back 365 days later to the same place, that was their clock for a year. Yeah. Now, he's trying to make the point that the fact that they could have also measured weeks and not chadoshim, it's the same arbitrariness. There's no isser for us using weeks. It's just been set up to establish a certain time to measure. He wants to say the fact that they called something months has no halachic bearing. The getter mitzvah shia nisan beinenu rosh chodesh of nachshiva karosh. We don't have to call this in the first month anymore. We see the Nevi'im already used Nisan, Tishrei, Iyar. The ain't a totally cloud b'shimush b'minyan amasi. Elo mashanu machlitin u'machshivin es nisun kechodesh harishon. U'mishum kach nira l'chora the bedover shel chashivus v'yikar. Something important. Where it's not important to use the secular calendar, kagon, ba'azmanis l'smachos, you want to invite somebody to a wedding, u'lesudas mitzvah, roy l'shtamish rak b'minyan Torah. You should just use
in Israel or in the Hasidic circles. There's no English date.
Aval b'chekim. Look what he says. B'check. You write a check or a contract in Yonim Shimushim. Ein k'peda b'shimush b'minyan nochri v'dok b'zeh. Now, Rav Yehuda Kook argued that using the secular calendar entails the violation of a prohibition. Abiyas Sari v'smial ki rosh ha'choivres muskeres. Spheres Adas and Noitzris Loidish shall also portray Yisrael. Shasu Nachrim Avodah Zara. Bechlal Yesh Bezel Lo Taskiru. So that if one uses a secular date, there's a dispute among the poskim whether it's preferable by the secular date using the names of the month or the numerical equivalent. Now, Elayesh Livchor Harab Miyutor Shikrim B'Shmeitom and Forshim. He should choose the lesser of two evils and call the months by their secular names, as the Ramban told us. Uvetama chodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodoshim. Shimnu Yisrael chodesh harishon. V'chein mimenu yimnu kol chodoshim shachwa v'sheni u'shlishi ad tashul mashana beis chodesh ayin sham. he says he should call the names by their secular names, because the purpose of the month shall be for you, the head of the month, that the Jews should call Nisan the first
Just
month.
as an example, in the very front, there's an introduction as Mizrahi. It has Adar 1,
Yes.
5779, and February 2019.
Both dates.
Both dates for Mizrahi. So that's what they do.
So they're not listening
So
to
what is
the
the
cook?
So what does the Tzitz Eliezer say? Hinei Yabia Omer that he just quoted. Meitziash kishakotfin lefi minyanim, when you write according to their date. Laskir before shemas achodsham shlehem v'lo lichtov b'sfira shel achodesh harishon hasheni. So the Yabia Omer says to use the full names of the month, like September or October, and not write like 4, 410, because he thought it would remind us of our months, but it's not our months. So he said better use September and October. But the Tzitz Eliezer argues, Ani katashti lo delefi dati lazkir before shemas achodshim shlehem hu yoter garua. Kfi sheshamati bebiru shemas achodoshim shlehem mechovanim shemos elilim. The months like February and July is mamish names of Greek gods.
Is that true?
V'yotze eifo shadavke k'shemaskir before shemas achodshim shlehem k'maskir shemakum. L'chein adifa yoter sheyichtov b'stab b'misparam hashana v'achodesh shlehem. So he argues, he says he should write the number. Just don't say that it's the year of our Lord. As Yotetor Shisayim B'Loshen L'minyan Hamakom, according to the accepted calendar. So just to summarize, according to Ravadia Yosef, it's preferable to refer to the secular months by name, not by number. Because the Torah refers specifically to Jewish months by number, we shouldn't repeat that. According to Rav Altenberg, it is preferable to refer to them by numbers, since the names of the secular months are based on the names of pagan gods. It is noteworthy that all banks in Israel accept the Hebrew date, as well as the secular date on checks and official documents. In addition, a law was passed in the Knesset that every official letter must have the Jewish date.
Well, what hell with the Declaration of Independence of Israeli thing? That's English, isn't it? In the bottom, it has April, whatever it is, April.
I don't. The Declaration of Independence is written in Hebrew. The Israeli independence is written in Hebrew.
But wasn't there an English date in the bottom? That's how we got the date, April, whatever it is, April 15th.
May 15th.
May 15th.
Well, it was May 14th. May 14th. The British pulled out May 14th. They declared independence 4 p.m. May 14th. The British mandate ended May 15th, and we declared it. They ended Shabbos, and it was Friday afternoon, and not to violate Shabbos, they declared it at 4 p.m. That's why it's May 14th, 1948.
Can I divert you for a second? Why do we have?
Why?
Because
It's very late. Hey,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, why are there some months with 1 day Rosh Chodesh, 1 day, and some with 2 days? Is there any order or seder to that?
No, it has to do with if your month is a 29-day month, it's only 1 day of Rosh Chodesh. If it's a 30-day month, it's always 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. Because remember, it was also because of Suffolk that they held 2. We know
It's always
that.
because
Yeah.
of Suffolk.
So
why
the
was
first
it-
day of Rosh Hashanah is the 30th day of the previous month, and the second day Rosh Hashanah, the second day Rosh Chodesh is the first day of the next month.
Yeah, no, I understand
And
that.
then works
But
on
why
every
a
month.
certain
So
months-
at 20 'cause
but
some months
is
are
it the
20
same every year? Is it the same every year?
No, some months, the 29,
We don't.
the 29 day.
Shana is
I'm not talking about
always
Rosh
days.
Hashanah.
You just said
He asked me about Rosh Chodesh.
Rosh
The
Chodesh.
he asked
Is
me
it
about
always
the
the same?
all
month?
29-day
29
months
days?
have
What?
1 day of Rosh Chodesh
Is it
next
the
month.
same month each calendar year that has the 29 days as opposed to 30 days?
Usually, like the Adar is always this fixed. The months of which are one are usually fixed because the calendar's
But
been
why
fixed.
was it that way? Just because it was fixed that way?
No,
Not
because-
because of the identifying them from to
Hillel Hasheni in the year like 262 CE, when they realized it was not reliable anymore to rely on Eidos HaChodesh, they fixed the calendar in perpetuity. So, but remember, Bernie, 6 months out of every year have to be 29-day months, and 6 months out of every year have to be 30-day months. 6 months out of every year, because remember, it's a 29.5-day cycle, the lunar cycle. So you can't have 29 and a half days. So half of the months are 29 days, half of the months are 30 days.
Exactly.
Half.
29 and a half is. I didn't know that. All right.
I think we learned some very new and interesting things tonight. Yeshua Koach, everyone.